testing.
That's right, we're testing.
Welcome back to the greatest podcast on the planet.
Wow,
It's-
straight in.
It's podcast with my girlfriend.
Here I am, it's the girlfriend.
But don't worry, guys, it's not like a wholesome podcast.
No.
Like a lot of people,
Did you
Sophia,
see...
the dogs are fighting.
Yeah, I can see that. Did you see... there was some drama around, you know, those... what they're called, sidemen?
Yeah. What are they called?
What they're called? You know, you've seen them, those... one of those did a podcast with his girlfriend, and everyone is sharing online clips of it that show how awful and toxic their relationship is.
What makes the relationship awful and toxic?
Well,
Is it because what I was about to say, they're trying to act too wholesome?
well, they're trying to act like, oh, you know what? Let me take this toy away from the dogs. 1 sec. Very professional.
Sophia's playing the SmackDown.
That's right. Well, they're just like trying to act like they're hashtag couple goals, and like, oh, they've got so much banter, but you can tell when they're doing the banter that under the surface there's like a deep-seated resentment.
So the jokes they're making about each other, they
Yeah.
actually
And
don't-
like sometimes it slips into like a bit of a, oh god, they're having an argument, this is awkward. And then they're like, oh, haha, it's just our sense of humour, you don't get it.
I think we've been accused of that a few times now. I think around a few of our friends what don't really necessarily understand. I wouldn't even say a relationship, damn it. I would just say two smart people talking, because
I don't think they're that smart.
Sorry,
I don't think these are that smart though.
who? Oh no, I'm
Those.
I'm talking about us now. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we'll hold a side, so you'll have your side of the argument, I'll have my side of the argument, and we'll start going back and forth if we're out for drinks or something.
Yeah.
And we'll start getting playfully
Annoyed.
playfully annoyed and aggressive at each other. And I think a lot of people don't really understand that. But I mean, I think in a relationship you both got to have your own side.
You have to agree to disagree sometimes.
No, I'm not even talking about
everything.
having a debate. I'm just saying what makes a relationship attractive is the fact that you both have. This is really distracting, Sophia.
Sorry.
This is how arguments happen. Basically, Sophia's trying to stop the dogs from fighting,
That's right.
and now she's picked one up and
I picked one up.
they put it
Is that not quite right?
and they picked it up and put it on the table.
It's on my lap.
Oh, the
it's fine.
podcast is getting there. Like we don't have the annoying camera now, so we don't feel self-conscious, and we're not sat on the sofa like two toads,
Two
just
toads.
just awkward.
It wasn't a very flattering angle, was it?
This is also able to create a more natural conversation. So we actually don't, as I've told you before, when you actually do a conversation, you don't really need to write anything down. If you need to write anything down, I'd say don't do it. I'd say don't become a podcast if you need to write anything down.
It was, I don't know, this feels more like if we were just having dinner and we're having a chat about
Yeah,
stuff.
We don't actually have dinner like this.
Well, no,
it's
but
occasionally.
Occasionally when we do.
We usually watch
when we get
things
Indian.
and have dinner. No, but I mean, if we do have dinner together most every night, but we're usually watching something.
Don't sit across from each other and talk
even
necessarily
if we
while we're
do,
eating.
We'll listen to a podcast or something. What I'm saying is, in a relationship, what makes the other person attractive is they have different viewpoints to you.
Opposites attract, love.
I've always been. It's nice to have somebody in your corner what backs the things you believe. That is nice. But at the same time, if that person, it's nice to have a little bit of friction.
Yeah, would you say you have to be able to support the other person and respect them while also maintaining your own beliefs? Or
I'm pointing it with your pen now, and
he's pointing right at me.
This is what it is.
Are you about to expose me or something?
No, not about to expose you. I'm just talking some truths here. So when you
Dropping
go
some
to
truth bombs.
So you're a gym person.
Correct.
And I'm not.
Yeah.
I think the gym is toxic AF.
For a while, I actually put off going back to the gym because you believed that, actually.
Right. This is the interesting
But then
thing.
I decided to
However,
do it anyway.
Because of you going to the gym, there's a few parts of it where I think, okay, that's okay. And I think there's a few parts of me saying the gym's toxic you probably agree with as well.
Correct.
So that's what I'm saying. So you need two different...
You need a bit of a balance.
You need two different... what's the analogy with the coin? Two sides of the coin.
Two sides of the coin.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. Does that even work in an analogy? Two sides of the coin. Is
A lot of people who are into the gym feel like their partner also has to be into the gym,
Yeah. So that,
which I find very intense.
well, that's the problem. So if you're trying to date somebody exactly like you, that's the problem. If you're trying to date somebody too opposite you, so
yeah, because you're still into like fitness,
yeah,
but just in a different way.
So if I was saying the gym's toxic and I still wasn't working out or maintaining my health, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing that.
Yeah, true.
So go back to the assignment. What's the?
Well, then they've said stuff like, he was like, oh, you've been slipping on a housework recently, and then trying to say that's banter.
The noise in the background is a dog. Every single podcast, the last podcast, it's sort of a famous haunting in these
Barely
podcasts.
having a drink.
There's a dog that has a drink in the background.
We've got to. We should take the water away. Well, only for an hour. Quick, call RSPCA.
In brackets.
Only for an hour.
We shall lock them away.
Put Mink covered. Yeah, and then she basically came back like, oh, you don't do any of the housework. I'm expected to do everything. I had your baby and you didn't even help me out with the housework for like 2 weeks or like whatever. And then it was just like, oh, Jesus.
But not bantering.
No.
What Simon is this, by the way?
I don't know what his name is.
Is
know the
it
different ones? Oh, no, what's the Growing Pains? Something Pain?
I actually only know the names of 2 of them or 3 of them. I know them all by face.
And then there was an argument where he wants... I think they kind of both want to get married, but she doesn't want to change her last name, and he wants her to change her last name.
Very traditional.
And he was being, to be quite frank, a complete cunt about it. Because she was trying to explain her side of the situation, where obviously I'm going to side with the girl here.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm sure she's probably a bit toxic as well. But she was like, oh, what about my connection with my family? And he was like, oh, what about mine? I don't give a shit about your connection with your family. We get married, you take my name. And it's like, well...
So that's
but then he was like, oh, I'm just joking with her. I was like, you're not, though.
So this is a problem because the obvious solution is that you both just keep your name.
Yeah. So he needs to just deal with it.
So,
but he won't. Like, he wouldn't take her name. So why should she take his name? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, or the thing with relationships is, if, for example, she had a better last name than him.
Yeah.
Say if you're I think my last name's better than yours.
Well, some people might say it's a bit basic.
What?
Thompson. It's a bit like a lot of people got it in it.
Okay, but I still think it's better than Rafferty.
You don't want to be a Raff.
This is the second sound you hear in the podcast of a dog trying to get comfy in the bed. I'm not playing these off an audio board. These are the real sounds.
Can you imagine if you're called Aaron Rafferty?
Yeah, it wouldn't work. So what I'm saying is my name is better than yours.
Aaron Thompson works.
Aaron Thompson does work. Aaron Wayne Thompson, my middle name, also works really well.
Do you like being called Wayne?
Not just a single name, but Aaron Wayne Thompson.
Yeah,
I think it's got a ring
right.
to it. However, so I wouldn't want to be called, not however, I just wouldn't want to be called Aaron Rafferty. So
yeah,
if
not quite right.
we was to, you're more likely to have my last name, apart from the fact, I'd just probably say culturally, your life's more interesting than mine. So I
keep
think
them Irish roots, you know.
Yeah, you have a, what's the word? What would be the word of like a vast cultural roots? What would that be?
Ooh, like a heritage.
Yeah, you've come from a really interesting heritage. Now I'm only 42% English, so I also come from.
If you had like a Viking name from your ancestors, that would be cool. You wouldn't get rid of that, would you?
Well, what I'm saying is I also have interesting cultural roots. However, your family situation, your heritage is more prominent.
Yeah.
So your name is kind of more...
Yeah, because it's like first generation, isn't it? So.
Your name's kind of more... So I think my name's better, but I think your name's more important than mine. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, if somebody does have a better name than you, then you take... This is a... I don't know why we're arguing.
I don't think we're arguing.
No, don't worry, we're debating this.
Oh, right.
I you know, you're just like talking everyone those things like, what are we talking about?
You got down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I've got a point to come next though.
Go on.
So once you said your bit.
Stop that.
Okay, right here.
People know what I'm getting at. Right, go on.
Right, here's one for you. One thing that really annoys me is the baby's surname. So women will...
What are you talking about?
stand their ground and say, I'm going to keep my surname because X, Y, Z. But for some reason, even if as well, I've seen it where the couple even break up before the baby's born, but they still give, and the woman looks after the baby the whole life, like they're a single parent, whatever, or like the primary parent, but the baby's got the father's surname.
Yeah.
And I don't get why people aren't mixing that up a bit more. Do you know what I mean?
What are you saying? You mean having the mother's name as well?
Yeah, like, wouldn't it be more like the default that the baby would take the mother's name?
I think
Because the mother's like the default parent.
I think
really.
you go with the name what rhymes best with their first name.
Yeah.
So say if they're called Felicity Rafferty sounds better. No, Felicity Thompson sounds better.
No, it does actually.
So we'll go. So if we name our kid Felicity.
Felicity.
Felicity Thompson.
It's a bit posh that. I'm not into it, but I know it's just an example.
I want to punch up. Like when you come from working class back, I want to like punch up. I want to go like high class.
What about? Here's a high class one for you.
Go on.
Theodore.
I'll take Theodore. Yeah.
Teddy for short. Extremely
but
cute.
Can you have Theodore if the kid's not black?
Yeah. No, that's like a posh private schoolboy name. That Theodore. Teddy.
Teddy's a black name.
No, it's not.
I think it is.
I don't know. But I think it can be posh as well.
But Teddy's not even a name. Teddy's more like a nickname, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's cute.
I think I'm just thinking of Theodore from WWE.
I don't know.
He was a manager. With French.
Yeah, I think. But anyway, it's like I was thinking about what I would do, and I came up with a theory of like if the child's a girl, it takes the woman's name, and if it's a boy, it takes the man's name. How do you feel about that?
What are we talking about? I literally feel like now.
Are we having a private discussion?
No, the purpose was I feel like I'm on like Loose Women or just some like I want to talk about big cultural topics and stuff like that.
Okay, not this.
And I feel like
I don't know. I feel like
I think sometimes when you get too close to your partner, like in this situation, they mistake you for a woman, and they think you're like one of their friends.
Don't you think this is important? Because
I've just answered it. And you're just doing that thing. What women do, you're just debating it for the sake of it. I've answered the thing. I'm saying whatever the baby is, whatever the baby's name is, then we name the surname.
But if we did that, don't you think other people would think it was controversial if we gave it my surname?
People don't even know how to have.
This is what I'm saying. Culturally, why is it not a thing?
People don't have. Right, it's the Iron Man thing all over again.
There we go.
I'm saying this now. Out of 100 people.
Yeah.
Who are all in relationships, so that you can say there's 200 people in this survey.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll scratch that. I would say 15% of the population on the planet will probably deserve love and are in a decent relationship.
15%.
15%. And I would say the other 85%...
trash.
Not trash. They just don't have a clue. Now, this is the thing. Everybody on the planet... the three things we're working for in our life are a relationship, unless you're asexual and you're kind of lucky, you don't have to worry about that. You're working, but then you still want companionship.
Yeah,
you're working for a career, and then you're working for your own personal prospects, so health, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. So most people are usually working as three things. And if you're not, then that's why your life will be struggling. So, just because everybody around is going for a relationship, but it doesn't mean they deserve it. And what I mean by that is...
Or they can handle it.
There's many different reasons why people are terrible in relationships. One of them is because their parents haven't taught them correctly. One of them is because they consume toxic things.
Yeah.
One of them is because they're not forward thinking, so they believe it has to be a certain way. It could be the Disney thing. So when you look at... I told you this the other day. When you look at a relationship issue... so say it's a relationship issue on the men's side, which is women have no game.
Yeah.
And then we'll stick with that one. Okay. So we're not actually talking about the argument, we're just talking about the idea of the argument. So a lot of men will say women don't have game. And I think that's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Because I think there's some truth in it. However, this is so hypocritical of the human race. What men also consider a game... isn't always that interesting.
Well, a lot of what men do to come onto a woman, they don't even like it.
They do that thing where they like the pity laugh. Like there's a lot of shows now where there'll be like a guy talking to a woman and the woman's laughing, all the comments like, "Oh, the woman's..."
Like the laugh means fuck off.
No, the laugh doesn't mean fuck off. The laugh is like, oh, I'm semi-embarrassed.
Yeah.
The cameras are on me, so I'm going to play along with it.
Yeah.
It means that. But what I'm saying is every single issue amongst the sexes can be flipped. So you can say, it's like the whole argument of the, I'm not going to say the P word. You can say the P word for me, 'cause I refuse to say it.
Sorry?
The P word.
Which one?
Not the lady's object, but between the one that was used when Barbie came out a lot.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You want to say it?
The big P.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It actually makes me physically cringe to say
Yeah, so
that.
I can't say it. But one of us is going to have to say it so people know what we're talking about. And I'm refusing to say it.
The patriarchy.
Yeah. So with that, it exists. And I'm not saying it doesn't. But what I also, I've been saying on record for a long time now, is it only exists for top 15% of men. It would never ever benefit me. My hair's too long. I don't talk the right way. I never went to an Ivy school. So I am with you in,
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is every single argument has its flaws, every single argument has its nuances, and every single argument can also be turned back on the other sex. So the actual real issue is, and all these TV shows are just promoting one-sided arguments of, we men think this and we're going to argue this, we women think this and we're going to argue this.
Yeah.
And people believe that, and they go into relationships thinking that that's how you should, like, there've been men in relationships now who think it's funny that they go out drinking their girlfriends at home, and there'll be but there'll also be vice versa. There'll be women who also go out drinking and think it's funny that their boyfriend's left at home.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, the majority of people, when you look around, their relationships are flawed, and that they're making videos on, and that they're on the internet talking about their toxic relationships and stuff like that. If you think about it, I'm sorry, but if you are dating a guy, and he's playing video games all day, never leaves the house, and you hate it, you don't marry him.
No.
This is,
and definitely don't expect it to change.
and this is what people are doing. They either refuse to correct their flaws, so then therefore they can go off and date somebody higher up.
Yeah.
Because
they stay with the person who's a bit toxic, so they don't have to address their own toxic behavior.
Exactly, because they can't hack somebody who say, I don't like to divide masses, but I do like the idea of the model of, say you've got like an A-class guy, and it doesn't really work in some aspects, but I'm just saying, sake of argument, you've got an A-class guy, B-class guy, C-class guy. Most women now prefer to date the C-class guy because it's easier and they can control better. If they try and move up and date the B or A, their lives are hard because they have to work slightly harder. Because if you're dating an A-class guy, unless it's the A-class guy where he's like, look, I've got so much money, I just want
a trophy.
No, you see, that's your woman instinct coming in.
Oh, here we go.
I got so much money, I just generally want a girlfriend or a wife, or I don't. Good thing about it, if you think about Messi's wife to him, think of Messi's wealth compared to. So you can still have an honest relationship with somebody who's making way more than you.
Yeah.
But a lot of women will refuse to do that, or a lot of women will do that, and then they'll steal from the guy.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is.
Yeah, it's just as hard for the guy in that situation to find someone who genuinely cares about him.
But I'm not saying we are this, what I'm about to say. It would sound like I'm trying to say we are a good example of this. But when, like, the people who are in decent relationships, the people don't believe in them. I mean, we have people throw stones at our relationship all the time.
Yeah.
Or not only do they not believe in them, we will never be promoted because we're not interested, we're not fighting. I'm not all over you. Like, women want this idea where it's like, the guy's bringing chocolates and the guy's bringing flowers and the guy's saying I love you and the guy's saying you're the most perfect thing in the world.
When they're like, oh, my boyfriend tells me I'm beautiful every single day.
Yeah, it's illogical, because why would that? Why would you need that?
Well, if he's saying it every day, it becomes meaningless.
Value.
So what's the point of him even saying anything?
The same thing. So when I was in my first ever relationship, after every single text I wrote XXX.
Yeah.
No, wait, not just no XX, not
oh,
XXX.
Right, okay, yeah.
It's XX. I wrote that, and I also said good night, love you.
Cute.
Right? First 2 times might have meant it.
Yeah. After that,
it's just a reflex.
It's like your email signature.
So I don't know if you noticed this. This is it's not dark. It's just weird, but I think it's true. I don't know if you understand what I'm about to say here.
Here we go.
When I broke up with my first girlfriend, because I had the reflex of always kissing her.
Right.
The next girl I spoke to in real life, I felt like I had to kiss her. if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean the next girl I was comfy with, not talking in terms of like dating just a friend who was a girl.
Yeah.
And say we're out drinking and you get comfy, it's like because you have the reflex to kiss her because you've recreated that comfy position. You have that reflex. I don't have that anymore, of course, but when you're younger and you get into pattern behavior, you go into that way. So what I'm trying to say is the whole point I'm trying to make is I think I think there's a scientific thing in the sense all relationships burn out no matter what. So you have to keep recreating it and you have to keep working it. You always have to keep working a relationship. And I also think the majority of people are chasing themselves and chasing the wrong ideas. So I generally think when somebody would just tell me something, they'd just be like, they'll list like 5 reasons why this guy is toxic or this girl's toxic, and then they just carry on dating them for 2 years. and it's like the thing you've told me. So before I met you, I basically was very picky. So I dated.
Is that when I passed the test?
I dated, but I never. The girls I was dating, I was literally, and people can say this is the wrong thing to do, but it's not. I went into a relationship with an open mind.
Yeah.
So I went in with a hunch this isn't going to work, but I also went, well, let's just see.
Okay.
And then when it got to the
but
point,
then if you've already got that hunch, will it ever work if in that situation?
No, because I went in liking them.
Yeah.
It's more so. We should also say.
But is it because you saw what flaws they'd got?
No, you can like somebody.
Yeah.
I like many people in life, but it's like, can you actually date them now? You see what I'm saying? So I would go in I'd go into these date stuff and I liked them, and even today I haven't seen them in 3-4 years. I still like them. Yeah. And nothing was wrong, and they were also doing the same thing as well. They also liked me, but then we both realized, oh wait, I don't want what you want. You don't want what I have, and therefore let's not turn this into a relationship. So I did that for many years.
It's quite mature, that approach.
Yeah. I did that for many years, and then when I met you, I was like, oh no, this is somebody who I could turn into a relationship.
Wonderful.
People aren't doing that. People are seeing the person who they're just trying to kill time with, which is okay when you're younger.
But they're marrying that person.
And then they marry that person.
Yeah. It seems like that guy that we were talking about at the start with the podcast, I don't think him and that girl are really compatible, but now they've got a kid together and that's it. And now they're just sticking around for that reason.
Well, a lot of people also don't know what relationships look like, and also the problem is,
well, a lot of people don't have a good example from their parents or anyone else, really. So.
I know we're doing the same right now. It's very, very, very smart.
Right.
But when you're putting your relationship on the internet, it's also not good because it's almost like you're allowing people to watch your therapy. No?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there has been moments on the podcast where people could look at that and go, "Oh dear."
What in our podcast?
Yeah. Like
what?
Not like this one, but I think previous episodes, especially in the first season, I reckon there was moments where it was slightly awkward between us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that was more to do with professionalism.
Yeah.
Of you were unprepared, so I was silently annoyed at you.
Yeah, you weren't.
But also, I think what that is, you might disagree, but I think when we first met, what we had was extremely unique and special.
That's right.
And then when we settled down, we didn't think it through. And we had a lot of toxic people around us, and we had a lot of demons to work out. And we walked really into a bad situation. And then we ended up in another bad situation, and then the whole pandemic and bad situation after bad situation. And then we really did hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
But the only thing, what saved us really, was the seed we had at the beginning.
Yeah. If it was just, do you think if it was if it had started how you're describing with those other girls, I like this person, but let's see if we're compatible or not, do you think it would have like fallen apart?
Yeah, because what we have, what is slightly different to other relationships out there, is we have a sort of certain type of strength where we don't let anybody bitch about one another.
That's right.
And if they do, we kind of don't have them in our life, I'd say, or we have limited contact with them. We make sure the people around us are respectful of the relationship. We don't share too much about the relationship. Even though we're on the podcast now, we're not sharing absolutely everything.
No.
And we don't take it for granted, and we don't think what we have is the best. We're always trying to improve it, which is in private conversations, even things after the podcast we'll be talking about, not directly, just it will come up in conversation, be like, I think you're struggling with that, this is how you deal with it. What I'm saying is the pendulum is swinging now, and we have now been able to create a normal start to a relationship. So if you think about this year, we have been spending more time together. The dogs are settled. My career's back and well and truly going. Your career's going.
Financially, we're settled now.
Financially, I'd say secure, really.
Yeah.
We have a lot of interesting things going. We can, we're living a pretty good life, and because of that, we're able to. So it was our strength what has got us to that position, but because of how we are, we're able to sort of get through. But I don't. Everything we've been through, I think we've literally been through the hardest. The stuff we've been through is insane. I don't think it can get any harder than this. And
no, so now it's like whatever comes in life, it's like, well, whatever, like, throw at me what you want. Seen it. I've done it.
Well, no, what I mean is like we went through it. It was like a series of events. It was. You go through a depression, I go through a depression, this toxic person does this to me, this toxic person does that to you, this happens in your job, this happens in my job, we lose this money, we lose a mass amount of money. It's just that over and over and over again for years, and we did so well to even breathe, really. So now we are really breathing. I touch wood, I'll touch the table and also touch my head. Everything is going good, but what I'm saying is we had that strength at the beginning, so that's what has prevailed through. So when you're talking about things being a little awkward in the podcast, that's not because it's awkward in real life, that's because it's awkward in a professional situation. There's many people,
if there's any little thing like unresolved in your relationship, then having eyes on it, or like feeling like there's eyes on it on a podcast or whatever.
But what I'm saying it wasn't actually about the relationship now. It was about the fact I had left the difficult situation, and I've always wanted to do a podcast, and it was cutting at me that I couldn't do it the way I wanted to do it. And I had now landed in a situation where, no offense, I was doing it with somebody who's not a professional. I'm not saying I'm professional, but I mean somebody doesn't just quite have that thing, whatever it is, you have to do this. So I'm trying my hardest to. And don't forget, this is the first time I was working with recording equipment. This was the first time. I was also doing many things on top of it as well, and I was really because the thing is,
I don't think I was really very focused on what we were doing.
The situation and the life I escaped and came out of.
Yeah.
Always means that whatever it is I'm doing next, it's really important to me, because it means a lot. Because I came from the town where, you see, this is how difficult it is, because even now I struggle how to phrase out, because it's a bit like defending your kidnapper.
Do you think you got Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah, a little bit, because you
place where you grew up.
Because it's also the fact of you can't really get rid of it. It is like dirt under your fingernails. Of there's still people from my past what just don't like me, but just obsess and follow me.
That's correct.
They follow me on various things I do. They're just there. You know what I mean? Just sort of following you, because they're just waiting for you to stumble and fall. So what happened was I had grown up in a difficult area, difficult situation. Very difficult.
Yeah.
One of the most difficult situations in terms of growing up. A few down from joining a gang, but there's definitely where I lived. There's definitely opportunities to join gangs. So it's, I'm saying my situation.
You probably could have gone down that route
my life could have gone to.
Well, it only takes really being friends with one wrong person to get sucked into.
No,
stuff
not
like
even
that.
that. I was friends with many wrong people, but I'm just talking about the toxic around me was called the culture around me was toxic. It's one of those things where if you get something, you're the target. They're taking you out.
Yeah.
It was very hard to get a career. The schooling system was terrible. There's many things, and there's just ingrained sort of racism in the area as well, which really chips at you as well. And just not that affected me, but it affects your outlook. It's like, I don't believe this. All these people are like this.
Yeah.
And then you go tell somebody. I was talking about this Saturday of day yesterday that. So it's a town where it's a fatherless town. And what I mean by that is a lot of people without fathers are very bad role models for fathers.
Yeah.
And you'll see when these guys,
even if the father's there, he's not really there.
Yeah, and I mean, a mutual friend of mine, Sarah, I got drunk with him, and he started crying how he hated his dad.
Oh God.
But after,
yeah,
he realized it was socially unacceptable. He said, "Oh no, but I love him really."
Yeah.
So what he was really doing was he got scared of talking about it, because that's how ingrained it is in this culture.
That's
like
messed up,
people just can't get out. And not to say there's not, you think you are the crazy one.
Yeah.
Because of what everybody else is doing around you, which is why I find it so hard to talk about, because
family is definitely a lot more. Like the idea of family is a lot more present, and even maybe a little bit oppressive, like around here, than in London. It's not really.
Not around here. Not around that.
Not here, but I'm talking about
where I'm from. Yeah.
Around, like I don't think people had the same like attitude towards it.
It's oppressive, and it's badly educated in the sense people generally believe that the guy who works in the shop, say if he's Indian, is a terrorist, even though that's the complete wrong.
It's mental, isn't it?
You're looking at the wrong place altogether.
Well,
really, but
it was it Doncaster where that woman?
Yeah, that was. You've named it the place now, but
we've named it in other podcasts, isn't it?
Yeah, true, but
don't throw too much shade upon it.
Yeah, but there was a person in Doncaster. Look, all I'm saying is Doncaster's a hard place to come from.
Yeah.
I don't care if people are just going to be like, well, it's not. There's good people. The argument is there's good and bad people everywhere.
Yeah,
true.
Of course there is.
True, but it doesn't change the fact
there's still a different culture there.
But yeah, basically a woman thought her.
There was some people
Hammers were
paragliding.
Some people. I think some people went the wrong way actually. I
don't know why you'd be paragliding over Doncaster.
No, but I think they went the wrong way, and then some woman thought there was literally a terrorist attack happening. Why would they come in paragliders?
First of all,
the most antiquated, out of date military operation ever.
Even if there was military paragliding would it be a rainbow coloured paragliding parachute?
In the middle of the day.
Would it be rainbow coloured? I don't think it would be.
In the middle of the day as well.
Ridiculous.
But this is it. I know 100 people like that from Doncaster. It's one of those towns where it's hard to get out of. So what I'm saying is, when I got out of it, it's not like anybody is wishing you success.
Yeah.
They want you to go fall flat. They want you to feel shame.
Is it like if you're gifted, they'll praise you, but they don't want you to set your sights too high?
I told you the story of the day. Should I tell the story again?
Go on then.
It might get boring because you've already heard it yesterday.
Not me.
I had a friend who was a car designer. I described it to you wrong yesterday. Basically, he was working on the science of like making the car chassis aerodynamic for different cars. So he was studying at a very good university out of Doncaster. His parents, his dad, who bullied him.
Yeah.
His mom didn't care. And because of that, his friends started to also take the piss. And as I said, no girl wanted to date him for some reason, even though he's a good-looking guy, funny guy. Funny how. Uh,
And smart.
Smart as well, and he made it out, but he made it out before any of us actually. I think he made it out when I was like, oh God, I'd be 19. I think when he made it out.
Well, yeah, he probably went straight out when he went to uni.
No, he still came home from uni, and then he was gone. And I
Mm.
haven't seen him since, and that's part of the thing. Nobody's talking about him, and I know
Yeah.
for a fact he's on a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm saying probably short of $1 million. I know for a fact he's doing something what is advanced in engineering.
Mm.
Nobody who I knew from back then is talking about him.
Yeah.
Nobody ever knew he exists. Doncaster will never promote him. Doncaster won't care.
No.
And every time he was mentioned after, it was in a mocking way. It was in
Like,
a way
he thinks
of
he's better than us.
it was it was like, oh, you know,
Who does he think he is doing that?
What
But
was
he's
he?
one of us.
They'll be like, oh, you know, he's gonna make. I mean, some of it is funny. I'm not saying because you know, the people I grew up with, I like people where you're able to tear each other to shreds.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between you push each other, you push each other, you push each other. Okay, it gets a little bit too far, and then you're like, okay, I'm sorry.
You rein it back in a bit.
But then there's a thing of just constant berating where you can see the person just generally has ill will for you, and it
yeah, that's kind of what was going on at that podcast as well. It's like, oh, it's banter, but you can see if you scratch the surface, like it's actually quite deep. Do you know what I mean? It's not just banter. Like,
so what it is people get ingrained into a lifestyle of when I was growing up, it was ingrained into a lifestyle of going to the pub. I saw this really interesting post the other day, and it's not about Doncaster, it's about England in general, and it was talking about how community's dead. It was a boomer talking about how community's dead and all that sort of stuff, and the community you're talking about isn't dead. It's just changed. So you still about like you used to go to the butcher and you know him.
Yeah.
You can still do that.
Yeah.
It's like you can go into the pub and everyone knew you. You can still do that.
Yeah.
So what he's doing is actually just creating this straw argument, which isn't really that true. And also the culture's changed. If you kids these days, they're going to they're going into they're meeting different places.
Yeah.
There's still a community
they're
there.
not meeting in the pub, they're meeting in a coffee shop or whatever.
We are becoming a lot more online based, and I definitely would agree big corporations are taking over small businesses. I'm not saying that's not happening.
Yeah.
But the point is, especially where I'm from, everyone knows each other at the pub. I could still walk into my village pub and people would know me. And it's been like 5 years now.
But the thing is, you can get that even in a big city as well.
Yeah. So a lot of things what are said by people, so this is going back to Doncaster, what in places like this just aren't true. And what happens is it gets ingrained into the system, so people believe they're not intelligent. People believe they don't deserve to.
Yeah, it's like this thing where it's like, oh, I'm just from this small town, like, so I must be just like an average person. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
But what it. The thing is, I've got friends and myself as well. It's so hard to get that mentality. It's not. It
also seems like people feel a pressure to settle down, like close to where they're from, or close to the family, or like in the same village. And like in London, that's not even a thing.
That's to do with. That's to do with the same thing. It's literally just the influence of. They.
Like, you're part of this place. You stay here.
Think about it like this. There's people now what are. I'm not trying to throw stones here.
Yeah.
So I'm just. Sometimes you just got to hear it how it is, and I know that's arrogant. Saying what I'm about to say is the truth. So you can disagree with this, but this is what I'm saying. There's people now what are driving around Doncaster who are legitimate big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
They have big friend structures. They maybe have decent money. They maybe are little gangsters. But they still just won't exit the border and go somewhere else. You know, I was friends with a legit gangster. He wouldn't even go down the motorway to Sheffield because it's this thing where it's just we can only do it here, and we're only doing it here because it's working, because it's a small pond. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. There is also a thing of if it's working for you, you play your venue. But what I'm saying is there is this thing ingrained in these towns and these systems where it's so oppressive and it's so hard to get out, and there's so much influence. People believe they can't survive without their family. If I leave now, what am I going to do? I'm going to have no friends. I'm going to start again. But they don't realize it can just take the model what's already worked for them and just put it in another town.
Yeah, because a lot of times the friends that they've had from school or whatever, they might have grown apart anyway, or they might be toxic, or they might.
When you're 25,
not actually have that much in common.
When you're 25, your friendships are done. 24, I say even 24, 25 is when your friendships are done, and you start making the friends you start making professional friends where it's like this. So I'm just based on my own life now. This person is into running. I'm now friends with him because we both run together.
Yeah.
This person is into music. Sometimes I go chat with him about music.
Yeah.
This person, so you make your friends like that, and yeah, you might have a couple of friends that have come with you all the way. That's cool. But in retrospect, you lose all your friends because you have to move on, because you can't all be together. And also times change. We used to, when I was a youngin
extremely cute
in Doncaster, it would be exciting for us to go to Asda. We would get on the bus and we would just go walk around Asda looking at stuff, and that would be exciting. Then when I got a bit older, in my late teens, the new restaurants got built.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal. So then I went into that sort of culture. Oh, let's go to these restaurants and things.
We had a similar thing about near ours, to be fair.
But what I'm saying is, after that, it was over.
You can't still be hanging around there.
That's what I mean. I can't still be hanging around Asda.
We're 30 years old, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's depressing, because you don't want to... This is why I stopped going to my local pub.
Yeah, but some people they'll do that, and then they'll have kids, and then the kids will go there, and it's like... And they're fine with that. But are they? No.
Because there's a solution out of this.
Oh, yeah.
Where you should make your home. Wherever that may be. But then go out. You mean...
Go... Spread your wings to other places.
Yeah, and bring it back with you, and that's how you improve the town anyway. Because you go out and you go, say if you're a business guy, and you own a fast food place in Doncaster, and it's getting stale, the menu's getting stale, you're losing money. Go to another town, go see what they're doing. Go to another city, see what they're doing, learn off them, and you bring that back to the city. You put it into your. I still call Doncaster a town. You still. You put your effort into that and you build it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You build it out like that. So there's nothing wrong with staying in the area. But at the same time, if you are trying to do something different than, I don't know, working at a factory, or there's not many jobs in Doncaster, you know. There's not really that much to do. If you are trying to do something different, you want to do something different, you're going to have to face the consequences. You're going to have to leave the area. And in doing that, you're going to face a lot of criticism. And they're going to keep trying to pull you back in. Because that's just how those areas work.
It's interesting. I think I'm only just really starting to understand it.
Me too, to be honest. Because I've just had my head down in the area. This is the thing as well. Growing up, Doncaster was not rough to me. It wasn't. It was just
what it was.
It was just because I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
I thought everywhere was like that. Also, the things that happen in Doncaster won't affect me as it affects. So I told you this, like, I've never ever felt unsafe in Doncaster, even though now I look back, I was like, what? I was like, no, my life was in danger when I look back. It really was.
Every time I go to Doncaster, I feel unsafe.
Yeah, but
if I go into the town.
I might now that I've matured a little bit, but when I was younger, I didn't think about it. It wasn't really dangerous. So it's not like I was, what I saw happening was, I was growing up, but a lot of things were trying to pull me back, and then I was trying to do something a little bit different to what was happening in the area. And it just wasn't fitting what I believed in life. It wasn't fitting my I mean, Doncaster's got a heavy car culture, and I actually don't mind the car culture, but I'm not it's not something I want to put my whole life into. No. So when you do that, you're already losing male friends. Yeah. So what it is, I had a bunch of friends what I saw at Doncaster Rovers, don't go there anymore, didn't see them. I had a lot of friends that invited me out clubbing, too expensive, don't want to do that, bad for your mental health, lost them.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends who were into car culture, wasn't interested in trying to buy an expensive car, lose them. so you eventually you find your little group, but then your little group also don't want to leave,
Yeah.
and your little group are also don't want to see you succeed,
No.
and then yeah, we don't realize it at the time. You only realize it now. The fact, like I said, it follows you around. Even the fact we're still talking about it now, it's kind of boring to me because I think people think when I talk about it, it's like a chip on my shoulder. It was a chip on my shoulder a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
but now it's like I don't even care, you know.
Yeah, I think we've turned a corner with it recently. Well, you have.
Sorry.
I think you've turned a corner with it
Yeah,
recently,
yeah. To the fact
which
of
is good.
there's a period where it's like I just don't want to ever go into the center ever again.
Yeah.
Now it's like I don't care.
Yeah.
I just it's more like I'm
You're not interested in going there.
I'm not actively.
But if something specifically brought you there, it's like
I'll never actively work there ever again.
no.
I don't think anything would pull me back to work there.
No.
But I wouldn't. If someone was to say, "Oh, would you like to meet for a coffee?" I'd say, make sure it's 10 miles from the centre.
So still not super keen.
So it's not super keen. All right, we should wrap up. So basically, I've taken all the videos down off the channel
Wow.
not because we're ashamed, or not because we didn't like the way we looked, or not because we said
I
something
didn't.
controversial, not because we got a comment what says you suck. We're basically taking them down because we're going to all audio now. Because I was saying this before,
We rebranding.
not comparing ourselves to musicians, but podcast is a form where it is musical in a way. It's just nice to listen to somebody, imagine it, not see their stupid face.
Yeah.
That is the podcast to me, and I want to keep true to what I loved originally about it, and I think it's working better.
Podcasts are for walking,
And
driving, cleaning,
Clean's a big one for me.
knitting.
Yeah.
They're not for like sitting down and staring at Sophia and Aaron on the sofa.
No, you don't need to see us. You see us in the thumbnail. You've seen enough.
You've seen us.
So, but what I'm saying, so the videos what have been taken down, you can still watch on Spotify. So you just go to
Oh, can you?
podcast.
Oh, you mean you can listen to it on Spotify?
Sorry, you can go to podcasts with my girlfriend
Wow.
on Spotify, and you can listen to all episodes. Then there's going to basically be. I still think we're going to keep our. We're going to do 12 episodes, and we're going to have a 3-month break, and you're going to get another 12, just because it keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
I think that's the second problem with podcasts. I think it's just like every week is a podcast, and it's just literally, it ends up literally just a guy talking about his daughter's birthday, what he's having for tea that night.
Yeah, I have to. If I'm listening to a podcast that's like every week, I'll listen to it for like a few weeks, and then I'll ignore him for a bit. Do you know what I mean? Then I'll come back.
Yeah. I think the only reason people keep uploading is to obviously keep up to date with like getting views and stuff like that.
Algorithm, innit?
Algorithm, yeah. So that's gonna be it.
There you are. See you next week, I guess, for more surprise topics.
Adios.